And away we go. It is the Thursday night live edition of the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app. They will get you taken care of. They will deliver right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. And you can also go down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of your order. And that's what I did today. Took some food in for the radio show, filled in for Mo today. Some tendies, some fried chicken, some fries. And took care of all the people at the studio as well. So go get yourself some Galactic Fried Chicken Wednesday through Sunday at lunch and dinner. All right, let's get this show on the road. We are happy to introduce the newest member of the team, and Zach Edwards. Zach will be joining us. We have Garrett Campbell and Zach Edwards rotating throughout the season every week. We'll give you an offensive line perspective, then we'll give you a little defensive perspective and get these guys, get their thoughts on what's coming up this week. So welcome, Zach. Good to have you, brother.
Oh, it's good to be here. Trust me, it's always good to be here and be able to support and speak on my Bearcats.
You're a busy guy these days in the high school football coaching ranks and trying to move your way up.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm taking it 1 year at a time. You know, I'm over at Moeller High School now, the Crusaders, baby. Just trying to stay afloat, you know, and get better as a coach and help young men grow. Yes, it's definitely keeping me busy though.
How's the season going? How you guys playing? I know you got a big one tomorrow night.
We're growing. One of our biggest mottos is Kaizen. I mean, it's the continuous path of growth, and I think that's what we're doing. We've done that each and every week. We've gotten better, and you can never say that and not feel good about it, especially right before getting into the thick of the schedule and right before playoff time. It's getting better.
All right. How much have you been able to pay attention to the Bearcats so far this year?
I've actually been to all 3 home games. So I pay attention. I mean, obviously, I get my kids at Moeller now. They always talk to me because a lot of those kids are Bearcat fans as well. So they're always coming in the next day talking about it, and so I got to be on my P's and Q's.
Aaron?
Yeah.
Good take. All right, there we go.
I've been all right. Well, we had a mishap tonight. The little one, well, the 8-year-old Knox, he brought home some Buckeyes, like the actual like nuts, not the chocolate
not the
peanut
candy,
butter,
like the
right?
Poisonous nut.
Yeah. And we went to a football game for Max, the 13-year-old, and then we came home and we were getting the baby's food ready. A little late night for her, 7 p.m. getting dinner ready for her. She goes to bed about 7:30 normally, and she had gone into the living room and had just shredded up one of the Buckeyes.
Oh no!
Yeah. If she ingested any of it, it was less than a quarter of it. But
right.
We're trying to put together a Buckeye that's been shredded apart.
Figure out what's missing.
And if you didn't know, they are highly toxic and give the side effects of opioids. So that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that. Yeah. So we're keeping her up a little late tonight. We called Poison Control Center, and they said keep an eye on her for 2 hours. Can't put her to bed. So if you hear crying and running around, that's she's normally not awake this late.
Well, I hope that's not a laugh. Like,
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous laugh. That's kind of what it is.
Fuck the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
All of them. Just all of them.
Oh, you are a peach, Aaron. I'm glad we had the fight song to cheer you up early.
Team Ticker works.
Yeah, Team Ticker works. All of a sudden, we're in the pre-show, and the fight song just goes off in the background. I'm like,
for both of ours.
Yeah,
Mine went
exactly.
off, and then yours went off, Chad. So
Yeah, I
that's,
need to
that's
give me
crazy.
one of those.
Oh, they're sweet, man. They give you all the information, like everything that's going on, all the stats. It's like 6.5 minutes of information that scrolls.
Oh yeah, I
It's
need to
pretty
get me one
good.
of those. Yeah.
It's pretty neat. They're our sponsor, so I can hook you
Oh
up.
okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're one of our many wonderful sponsors.
Oh yeah,
See
for
if we can
sure.
pry Dave's away.
Oh boy. All right, let's get this show on the road. It is time to look at BYU a little bit different this time because it's tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So we don't have the extra day in between when we record this show and when the games are played, but it's late enough that it's almost on Saturday. Like the game will be happening on Saturday. So
When
I
all
guess
said
it
and
kind
done,
of counts as a Saturday game.
At least here, not in Utah.
No, not up there. Although, man, the way they throw the ball around and can't run it, like I'm worried this one's gonna be we're gonna have the TV on a lot late. Like we're doing a live show tomorrow night, Zach. After
Oh
the
really?
game.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
After
at
the
like
game.
2:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be up.
Because we're not smart people. But
if we're up enough, maybe we turn it on. Maybe we start the show in the fourth quarter just to get it done.
yeah, that's what I was talking about last night. It's like
Yeah.
maybe we live watch if it's like a good game. Could live watch it and just talk. Open up the chat, and have people here. We'll see how it goes. You said you couldn't get it in your office.
If they're up enough, I'm not going to need to really watch the game on my phone. If it's on my phone, it's on my phone. But
it's going to be a close game, I think, Aaron.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Aaron's ready to call blowout, I guess.
I didn't,
it sounds like
that. Didn't say all that.
All right, let's get to three keys. We'll start with our guest, Zach. What do you got? 3 keys for the Bearcats to win this one.
One of my big ones is I think we got to establish a run. I know being in BYU and playing
You played
BYU
there, yeah,
twice. So I played them twice, and they've always been a physical group, both offensively and defensively. So I think in order for our offense to go, we have to establish a run, establish the front, so to say. That's I think that's my biggest one because our offense needs to find a spark, in my opinion. And they also have to. My second point is sustain drives. Try to keep the defense off the field because, like you said, they're going to be throwing the ball around. And as we've seen against Miami, that we kind of struggled with that. So our offense will have to be able to sustain drives, even if it's like 2 first downs and then now 3 and out. That's cool. Like I'm okay with that, as long as it ends in a kick and not a turnover. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then the last one, I think we had to stay disciplined on defense and get pressure on the quarterback. I mean, that's the biggest thing. He likes to throw it around. So if we can get after him, and we're good up front. So as long as we can hold our end on the back end and let our D-line do the work, I think we'll be good.
They play physical because they're like 30, right?
Yeah,
they're all like 30.
Yeah, they are.
Uncle Steve. Hey, Uncle Steve.
Yeah.
Nice catch.
Yeah. That's what you call grown man strength, I guess.
Yeah. It's literally dad strength.
Yeah.
Like they've all been dads for a period of time now.
Exactly.
They're not holding newborns. Like
No.
Their kids are on the sidelines throwing football around.
And boo. Yeah.
Dropping the kids off at school before practice.
Morgan James in the house.
Man.
They got a whole team of Morgan James.
Yeah. Man.
You mentioned you played there. You guys got out to a quick start in that game out there, and then kind of looked like you ran out of gas. Like you'd be able to speak on that better than me. Did the altitude have that kind of effect?
Honestly, I'm not sure if I would say it was the altitude. I mean, a lot of people can say that. I mean, they had oxygen tanks on the sideline, but I just think at that point in time, we weren't really a physical team. They just like leaned on us, honestly. I mean, they really just started leaning on us, and that took a toll on us as a defense. So, I mean, our offense, that year, our offense was electric. You know what I'm saying? But as a defense, we couldn't hold our own for all 4 quarters. We just weren't being physical enough, and we tired out, and they leaned on us.
I think that's actually good to hear.
Yeah.
Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like that it didn't have that much of an impact because they've talked about they're going to rotate as much as possible. You know, they're not going to try to leave guys out there for extended stretches.
I think with our training staff, which a lot of it still carry over to this season. I mean, they did a great job of keeping us prepared, and also with the things we needed on the sidelines to keep us involved and keep us engaged. Because I don't think I rotated that game at all.
You never rotated.
Yeah, I tried not to, but yeah, I mean, I think with the training staff, and if they're following what the training staff has put in place, I think they'll be fine as far as the altitude wise.
Hey, look, the all-time leader in starts as a Cincinnati Bearcat doesn't rotate.
Nah, you can't.
They try to send somebody on for you, and you're like,
nah. Yeah, they tried that against UConn at UConn the year we lost to them, and we were losing bad, and they tried to sub me out, which I get it, but I was like, nah. I'm like, Captain, you gotta go down with the ship, man. You gotta go down with the ship.
Is that Dan Orlovsky years?
How old do you think Zach is?
I'm not that old.
Jeez.
Dan's not that old.
He almost played for Luke Fickell.
Yeah,
like his senior year was the year before Luke took the job.
Dan's not that old either, though. He only played in the NFL for like 2 years.
He's older. He's older than me.
All right. Goodness.
No, we're gonna look. Now.
You look that up. I'll start.
He was born in 1983, Aaron.
That's 10
Dan
years before me.
Orlovsky? Yeah.
That's 10 years before me. Yeah.
That's a year before me. He's older than me, even.
He's 40 years old. He was born in 1983.
I didn't know he was that old.
Insulted our guest.
I'm sorry. I didn't know Dan was that old.
Orlovsky era.
It's all good. It's all good.
I think Tony played against Dan Orlovsky.
He might have.
Oh, Pike. That's my guy.
All right, Aaron, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll give mine. All right, my 3 keys here.
Don't get jealous.
Number 1. Rotate, and find out just how deep this team is both ways. I want to find out what this offensive line is made of. I want to find out what this defensive line is made of outside of just the starters. I want to see what Emory can do with receivers who are rotating in and out at elevation. I want to see what this 4-headed monster of a running back core can look like when you are rotating. I'm interested in, obviously we saw what Ken Willis did with the Deshaun Pace out last week. I'd like to see some more Ken Willis, if I'm being honest. Not the whole game as Pace is back, but we need to see what the rest of this depth can look like, especially at elevation. I don't want to see guys gassed out there. That's not helping the team. If you're just out there, hands on hips, just go get a blow, come back in, just keep rotating, and we can find out just how deep this team truly is, especially against a BYU team that's apparently racked with injuries.
Yeah, a lot of key injuries for them.
Number 2, they talked about it in all the pressers all week long. The offensive line has to execute. And if the offensive line is able to execute, that's going to allow Emory to make his reads, run through his progressions, actually look at checkdowns, and find the open man. He's going to be able to also establish the run game and not just have the run game be Emory scrambling around because he was only able to make one read. So I think if the offensive line is able to execute, that's going to set things up very nicely for this offense to really get going finally, especially in the red zone. And number 3, aggressive defensive play. Our defensive play calling is going to force bad decisions by the BYU offense. So I want to see Brian Brown dial it up. I want to see this team. I'm not saying you need to necessarily go 5-6 guys all the time, but I'd like to start seeing some more blitzing go on, especially if you're trying to hide some guys who are maybe looking a little just gassed from the elevation. So if they're able to just create some havoc in the backfield for this offense of BYU, I think that's going to again, do nothing but good things for like the turnover game and also third down game and all of that. So those are my 3 keys.
I think you might. I mean, it's going to be interesting because you saw what they did against Oklahoma against a team that passes a ton. Is they dropped. They dropped 7 most of the time, and BYU doesn't run it well. So I wonder if they go with a lighter box, dare BYU to run it, and then kind of play more of that zone stuff, which I guess maybe you feel like you can do with Briggs and Corleone, and just tell those two, like, we need you. Don't hold the fort. Like, go get upfield. Try to get upfield as much as you can. So that's gonna be an interesting decision, Aaron. Which way they go with it? Do they go with what Brian Brown normally does, which is pressure, or do we see what they did against Oklahoma, which is maybe sit back a little bit more and not come after them?
I think you can kind of do a little bit of both, because I think that if BYU watches the tape from last week, they're going to see exactly that, where you see them drop back in pressure. But if you're playing chess and you're constantly making adjustments to the adjustments, then you need to start sending guys. You can't just hope that Dante and Juwan are going to be able to hold fort the whole game at elevation. So I don't know. I would like to see them switch some things up, and we talked about it again on several different shows this week. Start making adjustments to the adjustments that are obvious to even people like you and I, where we can see like, oh, all right, they did it. They did it.
I think what's important there, and I think Zach would agree with me, you got to get up early.
Got to. Oh, definitely. You definitely got to get up early.
I
can't. It's tough to play behind there. One thing I didn't mention is like that crowd. You got to take the crowd out of it, because they play a big factor into it. Because that was by far one of the loudest stadiums I've played in. So yeah, you got to take the crowd out of it.
Echoing off.
How close is it to the nip?
Yeah.
How close is the sound to the nip?
Nothing compares, if you ask me. But hey, that's just me. Not being biased or anything.
But it's up there. It's definitely up there.
It definitely is.
All right, let's get to mine. Share. Come on. All right, here we go. Get chunky. We're not seeing enough chunk plays from this offense the last 2.5 weeks. When you go back to Eastern Kentucky, when you go back to early in Pitt, they were moving the ball down the field in 20, 30, 40-yard chunks. They had a huge gain in the run game, 2 huge gains in the run game from Cord Kiner. They're just not. We saw 1 play over 22 yards against Oklahoma. You've got to eat up some first downs with big plays. Like, I know people don't always look at it like that, but a 50-yard game, we talked about this Monday night, a 50-yard game just bought you 4 first downs, 3 or 4 first downs. And that is critical when you have an offense that's showing that they can move the ball, but they're inconsistent in, once they get behind the sticks. Like, they'll get 2 first downs, then it'll be 2nd and 9, and they end up having to punt. Like, guess what? A 50-yard play erases 8 plays, 6, 7, 8 plays, trying to just slowly, methodically move the ball down the field. So for me, that's a huge one. Is we need to see, 4 or 5 plays of 25 yards or more.
And I think that helps with if you watch the offense, they're a big momentum. Momentum team, momentum offense. So once things are going well, then they move in the ball, like you said. So I think that's a good key of big plays.
Be special. We're not going to have a decided advantage on special teams this week. BYU has an excellent punter. They have a very good field goal kicker. I would say UC is right in that same category. Excellent punter, really good field goal kicker. So who has the bigger night of that group? And also, who plays better on coverage? Does anybody break a punt return or a kick return that kind of can shift momentum in this game. I think, I don't think there's much gap between these two teams. So hidden yardage, if they pin Cincinnati inside the 23 times with their punter, and as a result, Cincinnati loses field position, like a significant edge in field position. That's going to matter in a game like this.
Yeah, being able to flip the field.
Yeah. And then finally, take it away. You have got to turn over Keaton Slovis. You've got to put some doubt in his head. And he's a veteran. He's in year 5 or 6 or whatever the hell year anybody's in anymore. We talked about this last week, Zach. Like, it used to be like Garrett playing 6 years was like, oh my God, how has this guy been in college so long?
Yeah, me and Garrett talked about that before. Like, dude, 6 years.
And now it's like every other guy is in his 6th year.
Yeah.
Oh, I redshirted and I got my COVID year. Like half of college football, 6-year guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of hurts the younger guys.
Yeah, it does, because they don't get a chance.
Yeah.
Like they don't really get on the field. But I think the defense winning field position by that help, and then that helps the special teams.
Yeah.
If you get a 3rd down interception and they don't get to punt,
right,
you essentially just had a 30-yard, 40, whatever it is, yard kick return or punt return, because you changed that field position. So win the takeaway battle. Figure out a way to get it a couple times. Naughty Ron, we see you, bro. How you doing?
I love that he referred to himself as Ron Solo.
He's been at it in the chat.
He is.
Been, like what Ron, when we get into like 3 keys or we get into a segment, we're pretty dialed in. But we're just hanging out, man. Getting ready for this BYU game. You did ask, how is Cincinnati favored here? We think it's because of the injuries at Oklahoma. Yeah. Dave talked about last night, like they started 2 walk-on safeties last week against Kansas. And they're down one of their starting corners. They've had injuries at linebacker. They've had multiple injuries on the offensive side of the ball. So I don't know that there's anything else we can pinpoint but that, at least for now, unless something crazy comes out, an hour before kickoff tomorrow.
Yeah, you pull a guy who's 27, 28 years old on to play safety for you at that point, so no big deal. Just not quite 30. Still working for that scholarship.
He's already built up 5 weeks of vacation every year.
Oh, that
started with 2.
Started with 2.
He's got tenure
already.
Steve says Kansas hung over 200 yards of rushing on BYU.
Welcome back, Steve, by the way.
Yeah. Steve, we love you, man.
Steve from Oklahoma, Steve.
Yeah. Steve, this Oklahoma fan, just showed up last week, Zach, in every show. He's the nicest, most polite opposing fan I've ever dealt with in my life.
Okay. Yeah, I actually sat next to an Oklahoma fan last week, and he was pretty nice. And he was like, it's a lot different here than it is back in North. I was like, yeah, it's a little wild up here.
Yeah, I think you could tell their fans, middle of the first quarter, they were all looking at each other going,
where are we?
What is this? We walked in and thought, oh, this is a cute little place. And now we're like,
oh, my goodness. Yeah.
These people they drank a lot of beer before they came into this game at noon.
Maybe still are.
Zach, do you give anything to anybody who takes issue with the all-white unis, as Cincinnati will be rocking the white, particularly the white helmets?
White helmet.
People have taken issue with white helmets. Do you find yourself one of those people who takes issue with the white helmets?
I don't take issue to it. I never really noticed it until what was it like 3 years ago? With they kept wearing them, and it was always a bad outing when we won. Like it was a win, but it was always an ugly win. Um, and to be honest, I seen the video for these uniforms, and they look pretty sweet. Though, not gonna lie.
I like the icy whites,
Yeah,
man.
I'm about to say I think that they look pretty sweet. They look pretty sweet. But yeah, I mean, I don't think the helmet has anything to do with it. But
Thank you.
Teach his own.
You guys don't even know what helmet you're wearing. People are like, it's psychological. I'm like, they don't care.
I worry about the color of the helmet. Yeah.
They go on the field.
Yeah.
Nobody walked in the locker room that morning and was like, oh, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it today.
Not feeling
we got to wear the whites. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, no. I think it's more about the jersey than the helmet.
Well, it's Pike did it. It's Pike's fault.
I love Tony.
Orange Bowl. They roll out the ice.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Tony earns the nickname Tony Pick. Throws 4 to Virginia Tech he was maybe it was the white helmet and he thought he was throwing to the other team because I don't know, trying to make
darker helmets. Tony
throwing 4 picks in that game.
It's a tough one.
I give Tony a hard time.
I know. He gave me a hard time Saturday, so
I'm sure he did. That's what he does. So, the best part that he's self-deprecating, though. He can take it.
Yeah. Yeah,
he'll fire back, but he can take it.
You just better be ready. Yeah. Better be ready.
Next time, just call him Soda Pop.
Soda Pop, I got you.
Steve Smith called him Soda Pop.
Really not.
So Tony was the backup for the Panthers, and Steve Smith was on that team. So he had Steve Smith on his radio show as a guest, and Steve Smith was like, "Yeah, we called him Soda Pop," and his co-host was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Because when we went out there, you shook him up, and he sprayed everywhere, and then he was flat."
That's messed up, man. That's messed up. I was like trying to figure out where you were going with. I'm like, Soda Pop.
It's not good.
No. I was hoping it was. Okay, yeah.
Oh, dude, Steve Smith's ruthless.
Yeah, he is. That's why I was hoping it was good.
Cold-blooded.
Have you seen the one where he's like standing on the sideline before a game on NFL Network?
Yeah.
And the ball kind of went by him. And he's like, "I wish you would."
Yeah,
I wish you would. It's on site right now.
Yeah, he's different.
What did he say? What he said? You wouldn't be playing tonight.
Yeah, he said you wouldn't play. Yeah, he's different. He's different.
But all right. What else we got? Anything?
I'm curious. As somebody who played the game, you've seen the way that this team has struggled in the red zone. Has struggled to convert third downs a little bit. Not so much as the red zone, but third down has also been an issue, especially 3rd and 5+. If you were coach of this team right now, Zach Edwards, what would you do differently to set the offense straight at this point?
Kind of goes back to what Chad was saying about the chunky plays. I would just be aggressive. I mean, just like from the I don't know anything how they're being coached, anything that's going on. But from the outside looking in, it seems like when we get in those situations, whether it's red zone or third down, we're either too conservative or we try to get too cute, in my opinion. So, and I think if we just stay aggressive and stay on the attack, whatever that may be for them, you see when they're driving or when they get down to red zone, you see the change of play calling. And I've always been a firm believer of, you change up your plays, but you still keep the same attitude. I mean, I think our attitude changes in those situations, either too conservative or we get too cute.
Here's where I would agree and think, like, I'm interested in your thoughts. Like, it feels like when they're moving the ball down the field, teams have been playing off since that EKU game because they're worried about Henderson and Wiggins going over the top. So they're giving them the free stuff. And since Emory's done a good job of taking it, take the dig, hit it, hit that little, medium slant that kind of puts you behind the linebackers and in front of the safeties, stuff like that. Then when you get red zone, guess what?
It shortens the field, yeah.
So you have to do something different. They have to figure out what works. They figured out what works in the open field.
Mm-hmm.
But what has worked in the open field for them aren't really things that work when you get in a short field or when you get in a high leverage when you're looking at 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9.
Right.
They're not giving you free release 8 yards now.
Exactly. And like you said, they have to figure out what it is. I honestly don't think what they've been doing has been it. And like,
no, I agree. Whether it's like the play call, the protection, the decision,
right?
It hasn't clicked.
Right. Because just what comes to mind off the top of my head is, I'm still burning with the Miami game, but we get down in the red. Was it overtime? And we put Evan in the backfield and try to throw back. I'm like,
yeah,
you got 4 downs there.
Nope. Like,
don't start with that. Yeah, let's do something different. And I think that's maybe what they've been trying to do is like the unexpected, but like you said, it's a short yardage, so that has to happen fast. Right. So if it's not happening fast, it probably won't work.
Maybe in year 2 or 3, when all those guys know all those trick plays,
yeah, and they're jailed, yeah, absolutely.
But right now, I think you got to like basics, man. Like, hey, what that 2-point conversion to Shaman looked pretty good. Could we run that for 6 instead of 2?
I kind of go back to against Miami when there was one drive where they continuously hit Xavier over and over and over.
They were giving him free release, and they were just taking it
until they got into the red zone, and then they decided we're not going to pass it to Xavier anymore. And
that's exactly what we talked. You have to come up with a counter. You move the ball down the field on the dig. When you get to the 15, the dig isn't. They're just going to sit on it and pick you off because they got a safety that's within inside. 10 yards that can come over the.
But kind of going back to your chunk play, if you hold that ball for just a hair longer and then hit that play, maybe you get the end zone instead of.
Or you have to come up with a secondary thing.
Yeah.
In the red zone, because they're trying to bait you. Like, Zach, you want somebody to throw a dig in the red zone, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're taught as a DB, you're taught not to back up. They got to take you into the end zone, first of all. And then if you're playing in that robber safety or that cover 4 safety, whatever the case may be, you're thinking a dig, I'm underneath that all day. I'm ready to jump it. So it's like, in the red zone, you want to throw the ball. I don't think you throw the ball in some of these situations. I think you get on the attack. And that's what goes back to what I was saying, being aggressive. I think it's more of, I'm about to score this ball, and there's nothing you can do about it, opposed to I'm about to try to figure out what you're doing. And you have to be the aggressor in that situation, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree, Aaron. Like, you want to get it to Wiggins. I just think once you get inside the 20, like, okay, what we did to get here isn't a smart play. And so we have to find another way to make him beat his man. Maybe it's an in-breaking route. Maybe it's the fade. They haven't thrown many fades. Like, I hate the fade inside the 5. But from the 12, you got 22 yards to work with to the back of the end zone. Let my big boy go up and get it. The last thing you want to see as a safety is a 6'5" dude trying to high point you.
Yeah. Well, and they got between Shaman, Wiggins, and Henderson, they've got some dudes who can go up and high point for sure.
Right. No, simplify it a little bit. Run stuff that you think your guy can beat their guy, because
that's it.
Maybe they couldn't against Oklahoma. Maybe they couldn't. But guess what? They should have been able to win one-on-ones against Miami. I think that's what pissed me off the most about that performance. So many tries and so many one-on-ones that like, you can't lose all of those.
Yeah. I think thinking about that too. I know the game happens fast for quarterbacks. You think about Miami, Emory, like when he had his chance to take off, he'd take off. I think that final play, from my point of view,
should have gone.
Yeah, and it's like that's where you want to run it. You know what I mean? But as a guy of that caliber, he's probably been told. It's just the history of football. An athletic guy like that, everybody's thinking, oh, he can't throw it. He can't throw it. He can't be the passing quarterback. So, he's probably in that I don't know. He's probably in that mentality, though, of he has to prove a point. You know what I mean? Let me get a passing touchdown. You know what I mean? That's just my thoughts from the outside looking in.
It would have been interesting. What we don't know is what that would have looked like had D. Wiggins not fallen down
Yeah,
when he broke in.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
was it a bad? Like, we don't know if it was a
Right.
good throw or a bad throw
Right.
because the dude fell down. He might have been wide open.
Could have been right.
So that's what's hard, I think, on that. But I do think. But then the flip side of that is earlier in the game, he scrambled and got stopped, and everybody's like, "Well, he had Evan wide open, standing in front of him."
It's
So
give
you
and
can't win
take,
for
man.
losing,
You
right?
cannot. You cannot. You cannot.
He should have ran. He should have passed it when he ran it, and he should have ran it when he passed it.
Yeah, I mean that comes with being a quarterback, you know.
Right?
That comes with being
That's
a
why you play
quarterback.
safety.
Yeah, I had to get out of that situation. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Well, how have you felt about the safety play from this season thus far? Some new guys back there.
I like threes. Is it threes or threats?
Threats.
I like him. He's very impressive, man. I think he's playing well. I think he's that turnover guy that we have right now. Like, he's creating plays.
The
He's
one he
jumping
dropped
around.
against Oklahoma hurt, man.
Yeah, it did. But is this
Shit
his
happens,
first
but that was
starting?
like, ooh. No, he started last year.
He started last year? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good.
He started as a redshirt freshman, so he might be one that's coming after your record.
Was he at safety?
Yeah. Him and Hicks were the starting safety.
I remember Hicks. Yeah, Vaughn. Yeah. Oh, I thought he played nickel. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if he gets it, he gets it. I mean, that's kudos to him, man. That's tough. It's tough. Well, I mean, if you get like 6 years, I can understand.
Now,
I think he's gonna only get 4.
Is he only get
21.
4?
Yeah,
okay.
So he no, he didn't actually. I don't think he redshirted.
Okay.
I think he played his freshman year, so he's actually a true junior right now with no red shirt. So you're safe then, because he had a year where he didn't start behind Cook and Hicks.
Now, did you guys face off against Javon Hicks in the GCL already this year, or?
Yeah, we did. He coaches over at St. X. We played them last 2 weeks ago. Sorry.
Okay.
So, yeah, I spoke with him. That's my guy.
He was there last week too, right? He was there last week. Yeah. Yep. On the sidelines. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just excited to see another Big 12 game. It's not like this was close enough to the beginning of the season where it still almost had that vibe of like a non-conference schedule game, and now we're going to continue to see good football. Like it's going to continue to be interested fan bases. It's going to continue to be high leverage atmospheres. It's going to continue to be just good football product, not half empty Philadelphia Eagles stadium or half empty Tampa Bay stadium. Yep. So I'm really excited about this season, and I still feel really good. I told Chad last night, I've been high on this game against BYU even before we knew about the injuries, and I'm still high. I think they're going to win by more than 13. I do.
I hope so, man. Trust me.
You got a Bearcats win tomorrow, Zach?
I always have a Bearcats win. I'm saying, I think 6, man. Like you said,
I've been trying to talk myself into it. You helped with saying that altitude wasn't a major factor.
And maybe I psyched myself out, but I don't remember seeing people like gasping for air or grasping for air. So I say, but like once again, like they had the tanks over there, so that was a big thing.
Threats won't be. He runs 2,000 yards of practice, so
hey, see, he'll be fine. That's what we need out of safety play. He got to hold it down, man. He has to hold it down.
We have
a big game for him.
We have Nico on with us during the offseason, the strength and conditioning coach.
Okay.
And Nico was telling us Threats runs more than anybody. He runs up and down the sidelines the entire practice when he's not on the field. And he runs more than anyone.
He runs 2,000 yards per practice more than anybody on the team.
Really?
2,000 yards.
Yeah, they have the technology for that. That's wild. Yeah, he has me beat.
He almost runs a mile more than ever. No, he runs over a mile more than everybody else on the team.
He has me beat. I was not doing any extra running. Not a chance.
Just a crazy person out there. He is a crazy person out there.
Yeah, and that's what you need at the safety position, though. Reckless abandon.
Yeah, he's like. I mean, it's like a soccer player where they they run and they never get tired. That's kind of how Threats plays football.
Well, and he got the flag last week, so I think we get a week off before he gets a flag the next week. So we're good. It's about an every other week thing.
It was picked up though, so does it?
I don't know how that works in the biannually the bi-weekly flag of
if it was thrown, it counts. If it was thrown, it counts.
Was it hard for you to learn how to not hit like that? Because you were kind of at the beginning of that change in how guys hit.
Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely changed how I approached the tackling, which kind of sucked. But I mean, for the healthy reasons, safe and health reasons, it makes sense. But yeah, it was tough because I grew up with hard hitting football. I mean, that's how I made my way into playing football. I used to hate football. I was a soccer guy.
Really?
I was a soccer guy. I always played 2 years up on my brother's team.
You didn't love to run. What do you mean you were a soccer guy?
Yeah, that once football came into play.
He was a striker and he stood and waited for the ball to come in.
That's what it was. I waited for the ball to come to me, and then I could hit somebody. You know, that's what I'm running into you. So that's what I'm used to. I'm used to the contact.
That's outstanding. I love it. All right, man. Well, do you have a game Friday night?
Yes,
yeah, you got a game tomorrow night.
Yes,
so
sir.
you'll get home what? Into the first quarter or so?
11:30. So we're at we play at 7. We kick off at 7 tomorrow. So yeah. I should
over by 9:30 or so.
Later, I think 10. I mean, they run the ball pretty well. So I mean,
yeah.
So it could be a shorter game.
Worst case, you'll make it by halftime.
Yeah.
So you'll make it to the end of the game. You'll still be wired from.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Well, we look forward to seeing you. Thank you for filling in on Garrett's off weeks, and we look forward to developing our own relationship with you, Zach, in this space. So
I got great.
Yes, that's my guy. Chad's my guy. For sure. Chaz seen it all. He's seen it all.
Well, then I look forward to developing our relationship here. So
I got you, Aaron. I got you.
All right. We'll run it back in a couple of weeks, Zach. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, good to see you as well. I appreciate y'all.
Find me at homecoming.
I got you. Go Bearcats.
All right. There you go. That is the show. We will see you. I don't know the hell when. 2 o'clock, 2:30, sometime late tomorrow night.
Set up your Twitter notifications.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. Thanks to Zach Edwards. That was great. Thanks to Aaron Smith. We'll see you next week. It's the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.